All right, so let's talk about the writing part of the 10 Forward project that I am doing this year. This is week 4. So last week I kind of wrote something that was maybe a little darker, a little edgier, and I still didn't do the best job of planning. I'm not gonna lie. I was hoping to do a little bit better outline, a little more planning, but sometimes you just got to go with what strikes you, and it didn't fit well into my week to do that. Um, the goal was not to spend so much time. It wasn't this wasn't supposed to be work, so it's a fine balance between creating something and putting time into it and trying to do something creative, interesting, cool, but not make it a job per se, since all of us have jobs and we're working on stuff. So it turned out as the week went by, I didn't put as much time into this as I was hoping. And so tonight I knew I had to do this, and so I kind of worked on it, or I kind of thought about ideas as I was doing stuff, and I want to do something a little bit different, a little brighter, maybe a little brighter. But I'm gonna read this, so I haven't edited it. I just did it. I worked on it for about the last hour or so. So it's probably more time than I was. It's not more time than I would want to spend writing, but it's more time than I was committing to this project. And it's probably, I don't know how long it'll take me to read. It's about a page. It's a little over a page. And I'll try to read it here and do all. I don't know. I'll try to hold my. I don't quite have all this camera stuff down here, so I'll try and hold it and read it and do what I'm supposed to do. Maybe I can do it. Maybe I can do something like this. Um, we'll see. My eyes won't be. I don't know. I'm learning all this stuff. Learning all this stuff with you guys. So let's do it. So here we go. I'm going to post it on the 10 Forward Facebook page too for people who want to just read it. But here's the video. So uh, yeah, or here's what I wrote tonight. Uh, she woke up, but still felt the dream. Of course, he was still there. They were connected in a way that moved physical touch and existence into the energy and essence of emotions. She smiled as the sun nudged its way into her room through the south facing windows. She closed her eyes again. There was a time that rolled into her mind. It was a memory, and it formed itself back into shape the way that a person standing on a beach, watching the waves, begins to look farther and farther out to see where each wave begins. Where that first crest rises a fraction above the broad level of the ocean and moves into the shore. That was how it started. The memory of that day. That's how it started. The memory of the day they both knew they would never be unwound from one another. Her mind reached out to the memory the way a person watches the wave as it glides closer. It isn't clear as one looks out to the sea where the individual wave rises half an inch or two. It just does. It gets closer and it becomes clearer. It will crest somewhere. In a few seconds, a moment, a minute. It's impossible to know for sure. But it's surely a wave now that exists on its own. The memory exists now on its own as well. She looked into his eyes that day, and it was clear. Not simply a feeling or clarity. It was a clear path between them, without barriers to navigate. They could see each other as whole people, and they had nothing to hide in that clarity, nothing to hide the clarity that allows one person to see another person's soul and being. That day was the tipping point. The wave reaches forward, upward, the tops of it rippling and reaching and peaking. Their gaze held one another, the intensity sustained. He reached for her hand, their palms against each other, the fingers almost interlaced themselves as they connected to each other in that way as well. The wave top crested, closer in now as it tumbles over itself. Her memory was so real, cascading over the morning into the smallest areas of her. They had flown through the days and months after that, a frenzy of all that is life and all that is better than reality. Her face lit up even as her eyes remained closed. The What did I do here? The wave continues swiftly onto the shore, erasing those that had fallen before it. Fast up the sand now, it isn't clear how far the water will push up the beach. The sandpipers dart just out of reach. Even now, as she lives this moment over and over, it's sliding, moving. It isn't static or frozen as it melts into the warmth of the present. The wave reaches through toes, and the sand slips under the feet with its motion, but it doesn't end at any clear point. It almost goes magically into the impossibly tiny spaces between the grains of sand. It virtually vanishes through before it has a chance to fall back. The approaching next wave knows nothing of the one before. And even though her bed was empty, she was never alone.